All right, thank you so much, Nifemi. Let's start from Abuja, where analysts say government should put policies in place to manage rising energy costs and protect citizens from the economic fallout of a prolonged U.S., Israel, and Iran crisis. They say while all producing countries could see short-term gains from the surge, they warn that broader impact may include higher fuel costs, increased inflation, and economic pressure on households and businesses. Helen Osamide-Akins reports.
Rising tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran are sending shockwaves, raising fears of possible supply disruptions and higher energy prices worldwide. Crude oil prices have surged in recent days as traders react to the escalating conflict and the growing risk to energy supplies from the Middle East. The global benchmark Brent crude had climbed over $80 per barrel, with analysts warning that prices could rise even further if the crisis intensifies.
Well, essentially, it began as a market psychology thing. You are thinking that there will be a disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. You know, that place where about 20 to 30% of products and, raw crude.
For example, before we had oil trading about $80 per barrel, and now it's already exceeding 100. And we know that if not some type of mechanism that comes in to kind of change what's happening, we're going to see that increasing, and that's going to impact every small market we have.
At the center of this concern is the strait, a narrow but highly strategic waterway that links the Persian Gulf to international markets. Energy experts say the market reaction is being driven not only by actual supply destructions, but also by fear that the conflict could spread across the Middle East, a region responsible for a large share of global oil production.
That many countries are taking a fascination in what's happened in the Middle East, particularly America. America had this crisis, we had an embargo crisis there in the 70s, and it moved us into saying, okay, America needs to create an infrastructure that is not reactionary, but also strategic, and other countries are doing the same now.
The impact is already being felt across the global economy.
Of recent, as the last 3 months, fuel is being depreciating, come down, fluctuating, but this time around is going up, and it just started because of this Iran, America, whatsoever this thing.
Experts say government may also need to introduce measures to cushion the economic impact of rising fuel prices and protect vulnerable Nigerians.
As we know, oil plays a huge role in the economy, not just in terms of machinery, but also the cost of goods. And I think countries are going to have to look at how to diversify relationships and, more importantly, change and ask other countries to become allies to avert things like this nature.
If you work on your healthcare, improved healthcare, and not necessarily about building more hospitals, but about ensuring that the ones you have work, and that the medical scientists, the medical personnel are paid. If you have a robust economy, some of these things will not affect you as it does affect others.
For now, global energy markets remain on edge as the world watches developments in one of the most critical regions for oil supply. Helen Osamide-Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the increase in the price of petrol has gotten every Nigerian worried, not knowing what might happen next. But while this happens, we ask Nigerians about the reason for this consistent